murder specifically. Sign me up, let's go. What is this book? Let's get in the car. You're meant to, you know, feel giddy about your books. You deserve that. Hello, and welcome back to Alexandria Loves Books. We're fully embracing the final countdown here, okay? This is what we've become, and we're embracing it. So this week, my besties are picking my reads for the week. So here's the plan. I've chosen 3 besties. I'm going to send each of them 2 book options throughout the week, and they must tell me which one I should read. And then I'll read it. So now, the hard part, picking the books. I've known I was going to film this video for a few days, and I've literally been struggling deciding which books to pick for the past few days, and I still don't really know what I'm choosing for this first round. So we're gonna need help. That requires the trusty dust. What's that phrase? The trusty, handy, trusty. We're gonna need the book cart. So I'm currently in like a little bit of a book slump, or like not even a full book slump, but I can feel myself leaning into one, and I want to avoid that before like fully getting into one, because I've been on a roll this year with reading. I don't think I've had a big reading slump this year yet, which is amazing. Fingers crossed that, you know, stays that way. So this first choice is critical, okay? We need to be very strategic here. This top row, so here's my TBR. These books that are turned around, I know I'm going to be filming or reading during another video, and then these ones I've already read. So these are the ones still left on my TBR. I'd like to prioritize them, but I most likely will choose some others. Now, one book that I've been wanting to read for weeks, The Naturals. So this is definitely going in drawing number 1. What is that called when the draft? This is draft pick. Does that make sense? I don't know how sports talk works, so maybe I shouldn't try to incorporate that in my book language, because I don't know what that means or how that works. But in the first drawing, in the first draft, if you will, The Naturals is definitely going in, and I'm praying it gets picked. But I'm like, what if it doesn't? Like, I need to make sure that the other option is something that I am actually okay and interested in reading in this current moment, you know? So I think I want to choose another mystery thriller, because I've just read 3 romances and then a nonfiction back to back, and so I think I want something a little dangerous. Okay, this is official. I've chosen to give the first bestie the choice of The Naturals or Verity. Now we all know which one I want to read. I do want to read this though, because I feel like this is such a classic book talk book, and I want to know what it's about and what happens. So if you've been living under a rock and you know nothing about Verity, this follows Lowen, who is a struggling writer, and she gets hired by, what's his name, Jeremy, to complete the remaining books in a series that his injured wife, Verity, is unable to finish. And so as Lowen, I want to call her Lauren, as Lowen is like looking through all of Verity's notes and things to try to put this novel together, she finds an autobiography that wasn't meant to be read. And as she reads it, there's some secrets. And then it seems like Lowen and Jeremy kind of have a thing. So it's a romantic thriller. And then we have The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is a YA mystery and basically Criminal Minds, but YA, from what I've heard. These group of teenagers have these special skills and abilities and are recruited by the FBI to solve crimes. I think murder specifically. Let's go text the first friend and see what they pick. So it's been a little bit. My friend got back to me. The Naturals was not chosen. So I don't know when I'll read you, but know that I want to. So it is final, it is official. We're reading Verity this week. We are not reading The Naturals. We are reading Verity. And this folks is why you should pick your own books to read. Otherwise things like this happen. I'm being so dramatic. This is probably a great book. I don't know. I'll get to reading and I'll let you know what I think. I open the book. I read the first line. I hear the crack of his skull before the splattering of blood reaches me. I'm sorry, what? I'm only 120 pages in, but this is a lot darker than I expected. Ugh, I don't love it. I'm at page 255 of Verity. I have less than 100 pages to go. So I will be finishing this tonight. So I figured this would be a good time to share my thoughts before I finish, to see if my thoughts change once I know the ending, and also get the next bestie to pick our next book. After reading this romantic thriller, I'm kind of in the mood for more of like a traditional romance. So our two options, one is from our June TBR, and that one is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. Or option number two, which is not on the TBR, but has been on my physical TBR for a while, and that is Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. This is book number 2 in the Dreamland Billionaire series. I ate up the fine print in the first book, literally read it in one sitting. So hopefully I will like Terms and Conditions as well. They're both chunky books. So I just want to get reading straight away tomorrow. I'm going to send a photo of these two books to my friend Carolina, and we will see what she will pick. I don't know what she will pick. I think she's gonna pick Wild Love. Don't know if she'll pick this one, but you know, she might surprise me. Now, to give an update on my thoughts on Verity by Colleen Hoover. I didn't expect it to be this dark, and also about this type of topic. I will say, if you are maternal in any way, I don't recommend this book. It might be a lot. So if you are a mother, if you are pregnant, or if you just have a maternal type of personality like myself, this might be hard for you. It's been very hard and disturbing for me, and I haven't enjoyed that. It took me a while to get interested, but once I was like 150 or so pages in, I was in it, like I am with most thriller mysteries. I'm interested, but I'm not loving it. I don't like the flow of it. It's not coming across as like plot twists and oh, this whole situation is now changed in my mind because of this new information that I just found out. It's more like, okay, this is kind of what's dark and creepy about it, and the more you find out, it's just like that same thing but just intensified. So each time I'm like, oh my gosh, but I'm not like so surprised because it aligns with what I already knew about the situation. It's also it's too spicy for me. I don't like mind spice in books, but I prefer it when it's like meaningful and impactful and really like it's driving the story. This just seems like it's being vulgar to be vulgar, and it really is like vulgar. And I get what she's trying to do and what she's trying to portray within these characters and their relationships with each other, but it just is coming across like, I just want to say these words and talk about these spicy things just a lot because I can, you know, and I'm not enjoying that. And I'm like, I don't need to be reading about this, nor do I want to. This is not where I expected it to go. What is this book? What is this book? And why was this an OG Book Talk classic? For what? Listen, we still have like, I don't know, 20 or so pages, and I have a lot of questions, and I feel like things were not explained. I don't know if they will or how, but I'm hoping they get explained. I need answers. I'm confused. Oh my god. Oh my god! Wait, I thought I got it, but now I'm confused again. Wait, what? That's how it ends? That's how. I actually love how she ends the acknowledgements. To every one of you reading these acknowledgements, whether you're here because you hate this book or here because you love it, the important thing is that you are reading. Thank you for that. Now that you finished this one, go devour another one. I love that. Okay, it has been a few days since I have finished Verity. I feel confident in my rating that I gave it right after I finished it. 2 stars. I don't understand why all these people I follow on Goodreads are rating it 4 and 5 stars. And I get Book Talk and BookTube a few years ago. It was a different time. Colleen Hoover hit different then. I think if a lot of people read it now, if there's a reread or for the first time, but now, I don't think it'd be rated as highly. I mean, kind of the consensus on Colleen Hoover now is not 5 stars. But just like, what was this book? That is my question. What is this book? It did not go in the direction I expected it to. That is not where I thought it was going. And of course, like I mentioned earlier while reading it, I didn't like how spicy it was and the way the spiciness was written either. It was just like left a bad taste in my mouth. It just seemed like vulgar to be vulgar. But the ending, even though I was surprised and shocked because I wasn't expecting it, it still wasn't good. Like, it just left me with a lot of questions, which I know sometimes authors want to do that, but it left me, it was just very unsatisfactory. I feel like there's a lot of things that she didn't answer, which I feel like she should have. I will say one thing that I enjoyed was that it was an easy read. Like, I read through it quickly. It was a page turner. It wasn't because I was enjoying it. It was kind of like when you watch a car crash or a train wreck or whatever that saying is. It's like you don't want to watch it, but you can't turn your eyes from it. That's how I felt with Verity. Oh, hello there. Welcome to my office. We're here today to talk about book number 2. And by office, I do mean the corner of my room that has my desk. As you guys saw, book number 2 is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I know I would have enjoyed Terms and Conditions, but I am very thankful that Caroline chose Wild Love because I am eating this up like it's gourmet. It's 5 Michelin stars. It is that like the max amount of Michelin stars? I don't know how many Michelin stars you can get. It's the max amount of Michelin stars. It is so good. Here's how yesterday panned out. The night before, I had texted Carolina. She picked Wild Love. And then yesterday, I woke up, read my Bible, watched church, went for a run, and started this book. And I thought, okay, I'll get like maybe 150 pages in, just make a dent, and then I'll get back to you guys and we'll talk and we'll discuss. I just kept reading yesterday. And I didn't stop until my eyelids were so heavy. And so I am almost done with this book. And I'm sorry, I did not film anything because I just was so in it. And then I woke up early this morning and kept reading. So now I'm on page 320, chapter 33. Elsie Silver can do no wrong. Can do no wrong. I really think Elsie Silver is my official favorite author now after reading this book. But the feeling I get when I read Elsie Silver books is the feeling that makes me love reading so much, or is why I love reading, for that feeling. And I truly don't know how to put that feeling into words because it's just like my soul is happy. My soul is in love and in the clouds and giddy and laughing, and I'm feeling and I'm crying and it's just so good, and I don't know how to word it in a sufficient way that properly explains to you that feeling. I mean, I bet a lot of us readers feel that way with certain books that just get us, or just hit hard for us and hit home, and Elsie Silver always does. Have I told you what it's about? Wait, let me get back to the basics here. So this follows Ford Grant, who is the brother of Willa Grant from Heartless, and he's a billionaire, and he's back in Rose Hill, this small town. He's starting up this recording studio type situation. He's always been in love with Rosie since they were kids. They grew up together. Rosie is his best friend's little sister. So this is brother's best friend romance. And they haven't seen each other in a while. She was in the city, so corporate job, and she comes back to Rose Hill because of some things. and they reconnect. She ends up begging for a job, and so she becomes kind of like his business manager, assistant type person. And a 12-year-old girl knocks on his door and says, "You're my biological dad." I really like the take on the single dad trope in this, because I am pretty sure this whole series will be single dad trope, which amazing. But I was kind of like nervous of like, okay, I can get kind of repetitive. How is she going to make it, you know, different and still like interesting and have like a refreshing take each time? And obviously this is only the first book in that series, but I know she's done single dad before with Heartless. But this situation is very like new and different, and I like it. I'm literally so giddy about this book. And that's the thing, people, if you haven't found a book that you're giddy about, like, keep searching, because you're meant to, you know, feel giddy about your books. You deserve that. Okay, this might be my new favorite sentence in this whole book so far. If I could build you a boyfriend like a Build-A-Bear, he would come out as Ford Grant. Oh my goodness. Imagine if that was possible. Instead of Build-A-Bear, build a man. And you get Ford Grant. Sign me up, let's go. Let's get in the car. I love Elsie Silver's acknowledgements. I'm not sure I've ever fallen harder for a couple than I did for Ford and Rosie. Their banter, the longing, the way they could push on each other's buttons so precisely. That's a special kind of love. 5 stars. Thank you for joining me in my office again today. It's time we talk about wild love. Wild love. This might be too soon to say it. I don't think it is, so I'm gonna say it. And if I change my mind, that's okay. I'm allowed to change my mind. I don't think I will, though. I think this book might be my first ever 6-star rating. I've never rated a book 6 stars. I've never felt that passionate about a book until today. This just, it hit so hard for me. Like all of like the micro tropes and I mean big tropes and moments and style and dynamics, everything that I love was in this book. I mean, of course there's other things I love too, but just like they wouldn't fit in that. Like for this type of story, like everything that I desire was in this. I loved how much Ford loved her and always loved her. Everything with the diary, oh my gosh. I loved their dynamic, their banter, their little like play fights, and the like, oh no, we always hated each other, and it just, and the small town and the dock and just the everything. It hit so hard for me, and I do think I'm going to reread this in the future over and over again. And listen, I loved the Chestnut Spring series. I love that series so much. Like, that is a 5-star series, but I think I like this more. And Ford Grant, seriously, add him to the book boyfriend roster, okay? I am so excited for Wild Eyes, the next book, West's book, to come out. It comes out on September 3rd, which is 2 days before my birthday, so I really think she's releasing it for me. Last night, I did text the third friend for this video, my friend Caitlin. I sent her 2 romantasy options. Well, one of them, I don't know, was like, I think it still counts as romantasy. It's more like paranormal. That's what people say, but I think it's still fantasy. I gave her the option of One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake and Bride by Allie Hazelwood. Now, I truly did not know which one she was gonna pick. So far, I noticed the past 2 friends picked the book that was on the left-hand side of the photo I sent them, and I'm like, interesting. And so far, I haven't read much off my TBR, so I put One for My Enemy on the left side of the photo, just to like test out the theory, like if everyone's just picking the first book and the, you know, on the left-hand side. But she chose Bride by Allie Hazelwood, so I am not reading much of my TBR this month. I'm sorry, I'm trying. So the last book for this video, I will be reading Bride. This is a vampire bride and an alpha werewolf form a dangerous alliance in this enthralling new paranormal romance. So yeah, I guess it's called paranormal. I still feel like it's fantasy though, if you're having like these types of like creatures. I don't know. Also, her name is Misery. It's an interesting name choice. So she's an outcast and she was living anonymously among humans, but now she has to form this alliance between the vampires and their mortal enemies, the Wares. So she marries Alpha Low Moreland. What are these names? I'm confused. And I just started. I'm on page 1. So, Bride. Let's talk about it. I'm halfway through the book. I'm about 200 pages in. I'm not loving it. I feel like you guys are so far away. Hold on. Let's get close and personal here. So I was immediately confused when I first started it. And then as I kept reading, I was really confused by the writing style. Like the last Ali Hazelwood book I read was The Love Hypothesis, and that was a year and a half ago. So I don't fully remember her writing style exactly, but the pacing is weird. It's like doing time jumps, but it's not clear. Like it'll be like, oh, we're doing this now, we're at this place. And then all of a sudden she's talking about what happened, you know, a day or two ago. And then all of a sudden she's back to like, then what happens the few moments after what happened when the first scene started. So it was just like very like, wait, where are we? What are we talking about? Like it just wasn't like clear where we were in the story because of all these like time jumping things that just like weren't adding up or making sense to me. And listen, my guilty pleasure during my Wattpad phase was reading werewolf stories, werewolf romance. They were my favorite. So I was really excited for this book because like I thought like that, you know, tween version of myself was gonna thrive reading this, and it's just not. Like it's not giving the kind of rules of this world and how these werewolves and vampires work and function are just different, and they don't hit as hard. I'm not feeling connected to the characters. I want to keep reading because I'm interested to know what happens, but it's just not hitting it as hard. And at first I thought maybe it was because whatever book was going to follow my first 6-star read wasn't going to measure up to its full potential. But I do think like it's not just that, oh, like this book is great and fine. It's just like I'm not, you know, feeling it. It's like, oh, these are the things I don't like about it that just aren't doing it for me. So it's really just the book and not the fact that it's following up a 6-star read. I've been holed up in my room like all day today, and it's like going on 4:30 p.m. So I'm gonna go for a run, get some fresh air, clear my mind, and hopefully that will allow me to come back and maybe finish it, or at least almost finish it. That's my goal today. The middle of page 248. It's a small scene, but it might be one of my favorites. Is this not him? This doesn't look like how he's described. The knot? I had seen some reviews on Goodreads saying they never want to hear the word knot again, and I was like, what? I'm so confused. And I heard it a few times in this book up until it was the knot, and now I get it. I never want to hear that word again either. Also, what is this third act conflict? What? I don't get this motive. Listen, what's happening makes sense, but I'm also like, is this really what's happening right now? Is this really what we're doing? Oh, okay. You're not a problem. You're a privilege. That's the first line that really, I like that. I finished Bride last night. I don't really know how to feel about it. I kind of already mentioned my thoughts throughout this video, I'm pretty sure, but I ended up rating it 2.5 stars. I liked aspects of this book. Like I mentioned earlier, I love like werewolf stories. That is one of my guilty pleasures, but this just didn't hit. It did not. I didn't like the characters. I kind of feel like Misery, the main female character, is kind of unlikable, at least to me. I also never like really connected with her. I didn't feel like I ever got to know her. Honestly, I kind of feel like she didn't have a personality. And I don't know if I just missed it somehow, but I did, because she didn't have a personality in my opinion. I did not like the writing style pretty much at all. Like I mentioned, it was just like jumping and it wasn't clear where we were, and it kind of just gave my brain whiplash. I did not enjoy that. I also didn't really like how Lo acted a lot of the times. Like there was a few things that I was like, oh my gosh, book boyfriend material. But for me, he was just the material. He wasn't the book boyfriend. Does that make sense? Also, the knot. I think Destiny Sidwell's review, she just said I'm traumatized by the word knot or like something like that. And I agree. I am also traumatized by the word knot. There you have it. That is my review on Bride. I feel like there might be a sequel. It's kind of hinted at, like with different characters as the main characters. It's kind of hinted at the very end. I'm still gonna read that because I'm just curious. But I know it's not gonna be one of my most enjoyable reads. This was an interesting week. A lot of interesting experiences for sure. We had a 2-star, a 6-star, and a 2.5 star. So readers, what have we learned today? We can't trust all of our friends with our reads. We can only trust some of them. It's not really their fault, but at the same time, 2 2-stars in one video in 1 week? How does that happen? Bad choosing. Exactly. Don't let your besties pick your reads unless you really trust them. I'm sorry, I trust you too as well. Much love. Thank you for joining me in this video. I had a really fun time. This was unexpected for sure. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!